Welcome to this comprehensive journey through the history of Iowa State University, one of America's pioneering land-grant institutions. From its humble beginnings as Iowa Agricultural College in 1858 to its current status as a world-renowned research university, Iowa State's story is one of innovation, perseverance, and transformation. Today, we'll explore how a small agricultural college on the Iowa Prairie became a powerhouse of scientific research, technological innovation, and academic excellence. We'll meet the visionaries who shaped its destiny, witness the challenges it overcame, and celebrate the achievements that have made Iowa State a beacon of higher education in the American heartland. Our story spans over 160 years, encompassing the Civil War, two World Wars, the Great Depression, the Space Age, and the Digital Revolution. It's a tale of how an institution dedicated to making education accessible to all has consistently pushed the boundaries of knowledge while staying true to its mission of science with practice. Part 1. The Vision Takes Shape. The Pre-Founding Era. Before Iowa State University existed, the idea of practical education for the common person was revolutionary. In the mid-19th century, higher education was largely reserved for the wealthy elite, focusing on classical studies, theology, and law. But in Iowa, a different vision was taking shape. The 1850s found Iowa as a young state, admitted to the Union in 1846. The prairie landscape was being rapidly transformed by settlers, many of whom were farmers seeking fertile soil and new opportunities. These pioneers recognized that success in agriculture required more than just hard work. It demanded scientific knowledge and practical skills. In 1856, the Iowa General Assembly began discussing the establishment of an agricultural college. The timing was fortuitous. Nationally, there was a growing movement for practical education, led by advocates like Jonathan Baldwin Turner of Illinois, who championed the idea of industrial universities for the working classes. The Morrill Act and Iowa's response. The catalyst for Iowa State's creation came with the Morrill Land Grant Act of 1862, signed by President Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. This revolutionary legislation provided federal land to states to establish colleges focused on agriculture and the mechanical arts, without excluding classical studies. Each state received 30,000 acres of federal land for each senator and representative. But Iowa was ahead of the curve. In 1858, 4 years before the Morrill Act, the Iowa General Assembly had already established the Iowa Agricultural College and Model Farm. The legislature selected Story County as the location, and local residents raised 10,000 and donated 648 acres of prime farmland for the campus. The original farm, purchased from Daniel McCarthy, became the heart of the future campus. The selection committee chose this site for its fertile soil, suitable for agricultural experimentation, and its proximity to transportation routes. The gently rolling landscape would prove ideal for both farming and the construction of academic buildings. The early years and first classes, construction of the main building, now known as the farmhouse, began in 1860. This modest structure would serve multiple purposes: residence for the farm superintendent, boarding facility for farm workers, and meeting place for the Board of Trustees. The Civil War delayed the college's opening, but on March 17, 1869, Iowa Agricultural College officially opened its doors. The first class consisted of 173 students, including 37 women. This coeducational approach was revolutionary. Iowa State was one of the first land grant institutions to admit women on an equal basis with men. The first president, Adonijah Welch, brought a vision of comprehensive education. Welch, previously a Michigan state senator and educator, believed in combining practical training with broad intellectual development. Under his leadership, the curriculum included not just agriculture and engineering, but also literature, philosophy, and the sciences. The early students lived a regimented life. Days began at 5 a.m. with chapel, followed by classes, manual labor on the college farm, and evening study hours. All students were required to work, both to reduce costs and to reinforce the dignity of labor. Women students performed domestic work, while men labored in the fields and workshops. Part 2: Building the Foundation. The Welch Era and Educational Philosophy. President Welch's tenure from 1868 to 1883 established many traditions that would define Iowa State. He insisted on high academic standards while maintaining the practical focus mandated by the Morrill Act. The curriculum he developed was remarkably progressive, including courses in botany, chemistry, physics, and mathematics, alongside agricultural subjects. Welch also emphasized character development and civic responsibility. He believed that land grant colleges should produce not just skilled workers, but educated citizens capable of leadership in a democratic society. This philosophy attracted faculty members who shared his vision, including some remarkable pioneers. Early faculty and academic innovations. Among the early faculty was Mary Bennett, appointed in 1871 as the first female professor at Iowa State and one of the first in the United States. She taught mathematics with such skill that she became known as the Mother of Mathematics at Iowa State. Her presence reinforced the college's commitment to coeducation. Charles Bessey, who joined the faculty in 1870, revolutionized botanical education in America. His laboratory method of teaching botany, emphasizing hands-on observation over rote memorization, became the national model. Bessey's students would go on to lead botany departments across the country, spreading the Iowa State approach to scientific education. The engineering program, initially focused on civil and mechanical engineering, quickly gained recognition. Professor George W. Jones established rigorous standards and practical training that produced engineers capable of building America's expanding infrastructure. The program's emphasis on combining theoretical knowledge with practical application became its hallmark. Campus development and student life. The 1870s and 1880s saw rapid physical expansion. Old Main, a magnificent 5-story building completed in 1868, dominated the campus skyline. It housed classrooms, laboratories, the library, chapel, and museum. The building's Second Empire architecture, with its distinctive mansard roof, symbolized the college's aspirations. Student life centered around literary societies, which served as both social clubs and intellectual forums. The Philomathian Society for Men and the Cleolian Society for Women sponsored debates, lectures, and social events. These societies published the first student publications and organized the first theatrical performances on campus. Athletics emerged in the 1880s, with baseball as the first organized sport. The college's teams, initially called the Cardinals, competed against other Iowa colleges. Football arrived in 1892, though the early games bore little resemblance to the modern sport. The campus community was tightly knit, with faculty and students often dining together in the boarding hall. This close interaction fostered mentorship relationships that many alumni would later credit as transformative. The shared experience of building a new institution created strong bonds and a distinctive culture. The Storms and Chamberlain transformation. William Chamberlain's presidency from 1886 to 1890 brought significant changes. He reorganized the college into four divisions: agriculture, engineering, science, and veterinary science. This structure provided clearer academic paths and strengthened professional programs. Chamberlain also oversaw the aftermath of a devastating tornado that struck the campus on June 14, 1882, destroying several buildings and damaging Old Main. The reconstruction effort, while challenging, resulted in improved facilities and demonstrated the community's resilience. Under Chamberlain, the experiment station was formally established in 1888 following the Hatch Act of 1887. This federal legislation provided funding for agricultural research, transforming land-grant colleges into research institutions. Iowa State's station quickly gained recognition for its work in animal nutrition, plant breeding, and soil science. Part 3: The Beards Here Revolution, a New Vision for the New Century. William Miller Beards Here's appointment as president in 1891 marked a transformative era for Iowa State. A former Civil War soldier and Methodist minister, Beards Here brought charismatic leadership and ambitious vision. He famously declared that Iowa State would become the MIT of the Midwest, combining technical excellence with broad humanistic education. Beards Here expanded the curriculum dramatically, establishing new departments in domestic science, later home economics, public speaking, music, and military science. He believed that technical education should be complemented by cultural refinement, arguing that engineers and farmers needed to be effective communicators and engaged citizens. His philosophy of science with practice became Iowa State's unofficial motto. This approach meant that theoretical knowledge must be tested and applied in real-world contexts. Every department was expected to demonstrate the practical value of its instruction while maintaining rigorous academic standards. The birth of extension and outreach. Perhaps Beards Here's most lasting contribution was establishing the foundation for what would become the Extension Service. He believed the college had an obligation to share its knowledge beyond the campus boundaries. Faculty members began traveling to farms across Iowa, demonstrating new agricultural techniques and sharing research findings. The corn gospel trains became legendary. Special trains carried faculty members, equipment, and demonstration materials to rural communities. Thousands of farmers would gather at railroad stops to learn about seed selection, soil conservation, and livestock management. These programs demonstrated the land-grant ideal of democratic education in action. Perry Holden, hired in 1902 as professor of agronomy, revolutionized corn production through his extension work. His corn yield competitions and educational programs helped Iowa farmers dramatically increase productivity. Holden's methods became the model for agricultural extension nationwide. Academic excellence and research growth. The Beards Here era saw remarkable faculty recruitment. Lewis Pamel in botany, Charles Curtis in agriculture, and Anson Marston in engineering built programs of national significance. Maria Roberts became the first dean of the Division of Domestic Science, establishing home economics as a serious academic discipline. Research accomplishments multiplied. The agricultural experiment station developed new corn varieties, improved livestock breeds, and pioneered soil conservation techniques. Engineering faculty designed innovative farm machinery and developed new construction methods for rural roads and bridges. The veterinary program, established in 1879, became one of the nation's leading schools. Under Dean John H. McNeill, the program combined rigorous scientific training with extensive clinical experience, producing veterinarians capable of addressing both animal health and public health challenges. Campus culture and student growth enrollment surged during the Beards Here years, reaching nearly 1,000 students by 1900. The student body became more diverse, with increasing numbers of international students, particularly from Asia and Latin America. Iowa State's practical curriculum and welcoming atmosphere attracted students seeking applicable education. New traditions emerged during this period. The Campanile, built in 1899 as a memorial to Margaret Stanton, became the symbol of Iowa State. Its bells marked the rhythm of campus life, calling students to classes and celebrating special occasions. The tradition of the Campanile Kiss, that a student officially became an Iowa Stater after being kissed under the Campanile at midnight, began in this era. Literary and scientific societies flourished. The Agricultural Club, Engineering Society, and Science Club sponsored lectures by prominent visitors and organized student research presentations. The Aurora, the college's first yearbook, began publication in 1894, documenting student life and achievements, tragedy and legacy. Beards Here's sudden death in 1902 shocked the campus community. His funeral, attended by thousands, demonstrated the profound impact he had made. The Board of Trustees declared that he had transformed a college into a university in spirit and achievement. The Beards Here Hall, completed in 1906, stands as a monument to his vision. This magnificent Beaux-Arts building, with its grand columns and dome, houses the university administration and symbolizes Iowa State's aspirations for excellence. The building's prominent position at the heart of campus reflects Beards Here's central role in shaping the institution. Part 4: Progressive Era and World War I. The Storms' Presidency and Consolidation. Albert Boynton Storms, assuming the presidency in 1903, faced the challenge of consolidating Beards Here's expansive vision while managing practical realities. A methodical administrator, Storms focused on strengthening academic programs and improving infrastructure. Under his leadership, enrollment grew to over 2,000 students by 1910. Storms oversaw the establishment of the Graduate College in 1913, formalizing advanced degree programs. This development marked Iowa State's transition from a college to a true university, capable of producing original research and training future scholars. The first PhD degrees were awarded in 1916, establishing Iowa State as a research institution. The engineering division expanded dramatically, adding programs in electrical, chemical, and ceramic engineering. The Engineering Experiment Station, established in 1904, conducted research on materials, structures, and industrial processes. This work proved invaluable as America industrialized rapidly. The Golden Age of Agriculture. The period from 1900 to 1917 is often called the Golden Age of American agriculture, and Iowa State played a central role. The college's research in the crop rotation, animal breeding, and farm management helped Iowa become the nation's leading agricultural state. Henry Wallace, who would later serve as U.S. Secretary of Agriculture and Vice President, graduated in 1892 and maintained close ties to the college. His work on agricultural statistics and economics, developed in collaboration with Iowa State faculty, revolutionized farm management. Wallace's Farmer, the influential agricultural journal he edited, regularly featured Iowa State research. The Extension Service, formally established in 1906, reached every county in Iowa. County demonstration agents, trained at Iowa State, worked directly with farmers to implement scientific farming methods. The Boys and Girls Clubs, precursors to 4-H, began at Iowa State in 1904, engaging young people in agricultural and domestic science projects. World War I and the campus at War America's entry into World War I in 1917 transformed campus life. Iowa State immediately offered its facilities and expertise to the war effort. The Student Army Training Corps, SATC, was established, turning the campus into a military training center. Over 2,500 students and alumni served in the military, with 57 making the ultimate sacrifice. The college's contributions extended beyond military training. Faculty members conducted research on food preservation, munitions, and chemical weapons defense. The Home Economics Department developed recipes using substitute ingredients to support food conservation efforts. Agricultural researchers worked on increasing crop yields to feed Allied forces. Women's enrollment increased significantly. As men left for military service, female students took on new roles, maintaining the college farm, editing publications, and leading student organizations. This experience challenged traditional gender roles and paved the way for greater female participation in all aspects of campus life. The 1918 influenza pandemic struck the campus hard, with hundreds of students falling ill. The Home Economics Department converted spaces into temporary hospitals, and students volunteered as nurses. Despite these challenges, the college maintained its educational mission, demonstrating remarkable resilience. Post-war expansion and the Pearson era. Raymond Pearson became president in 1912, leading Iowa State through the war years and into the 1920s. His background in dairy science and agricultural education shaped his approach to administration. Pearson emphasized practical education while maintaining high academic standards. The post-war period brought unprecedented growth. Returning veterans, supported by state and federal programs, swelled enrollment. New dormitories, including the distinctive Friley Hall, begun in 1927, accommodated the growing student body. Academic programs expanded to meet demands for engineers, scientists, and agricultural experts needed for America's booming economy. The Memorial Union, conceived as a tribute to Iowa State's war dead, began construction in 1922. This building would become the heart of student life, housing dining facilities, meeting rooms, recreational spaces, and a hotel. Its Gothic Revival architecture represented the university's commitment to creating a beautiful and functional campus. Part 5. Depression, Recovery, and World War II. The Great Depression's impact. The stock market crash of 1929 and subsequent Great Depression severely impacted Iowa State. Agricultural prices collapsed, devastating Iowa's farm economy. State appropriations plummeted, forcing salary cuts and program reductions. Enrollment dropped as families could no longer afford even the modest costs of public education. President Raymond Hughes, who assumed office in 1927, guided the institution through these difficult years with steady leadership. Despite financial constraints, Hughes maintained that the college must continue its research and service missions, particularly when Iowa's farmers faced unprecedented challenges. Federal New Deal programs provided crucial support. The Public Works Administration funded construction projects, including the library, now Parks Library, and several academic buildings. The Civilian Conservation Corps established camps near campus, with Iowa State faculty providing educational programs. These projects not only improved facilities, but provided employment for students and community members. The Agricultural Adjustment Act and related farm programs relied heavily on Iowa state expertise. Extension agents helped farmers navigate complex federal programs, implement soil conservation practices, and adopt new farming methods. The college's economists analyzed agricultural policies, providing data that shaped national farm legislation. Scientific breakthroughs and research excellence. Despite economic hardship, the 1930s witnessed remarkable scientific achievements at Iowa State. The Statistics Laboratory, established in 1933 under George Snedecor, pioneered statistical methods that revolutionized experimental design in agriculture and other fields. The development of analysis of variance and other statistical techniques at Iowa State transformed scientific research worldwide. The creation of the world's first electronic digital computer, the Atanasoff Berry computer, ABC, represents one of Iowa State's most significant contributions to human knowledge. John Vincent Atanasoff, professor of physics and mathematics, conceived the basic principles of electronic digital computing in 1937. Working with graduate student Clifford Berry, Atanasoff built a prototype between 1939 and 1942. The ABC incorporated revolutionary concepts: binary numbers, electronic switching, and regenerative memory. While World War II interrupted the project, the ABC's principles influenced all subsequent computer development. The legal recognition of Atanasoff as the inventor of the electronic digital computer, confirmed in a 1973 federal court decision, established Iowa State's place in computing history. Frank Spedding's work in chemistry laid groundwork for the Manhattan Project. His techniques for purifying rare earth elements proved crucial for nuclear research. When the Manhattan Project began, Spedding would lead the Ames Laboratory, producing over 2 million pounds of pure uranium for the atomic bomb program. World War II transformation. The attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941 again transformed Iowa State into a war training center. The Navy Pre-Flight School, established in 1942, trained over 10,000 naval aviators. The campus resembled a military base, with uniformed servicemen marching between classes and aircraft flying overhead. Academic programs adapted to wartime needs. The engineering departments accelerated programs, producing graduates in 3 years instead of 4. Special programs trained workers for defense industries. Women again enrolled in unprecedented numbers, studying engineering, science, and agriculture, fields previously dominated by men. The Ames Laboratory, established in 1942 as part of the Manhattan Project, became one of the nation's premier nuclear research facilities. Under Frank Spedding's direction, the laboratory developed efficient methods for producing pure uranium and other strategic materials. This work conducted in absolute secrecy, contributed directly to ending the war. Faculty research contributed to numerous military technologies. Improvements in food preservation fed troops overseas. Developments in textiles provided better military uniforms and equipment. Agricultural research ensured adequate food production despite labor shortages. Post-war boom and the Friley presidency, Charles Friley, assuming the presidency in 1936, led Iowa State through depression, war, and into post-war prosperity. His 20-year tenure, the longest in Iowa State history, saw the transformation from agricultural college to comprehensive university. The GI Bill brought thousands of veterans to campus. Enrollment surged from 4,000 in 1945 to over 10,000 by 1947. Temporary buildings, including relocated military barracks, housed students and classrooms. Pamel Court, a village of converted military housing for married students, created a new community on campus. Academic programs expanded dramatically. New departments in psychology, sociology, and political science reflected growing emphasis on social sciences. The engineering college added aerospace and nuclear engineering programs. The sciences grew with new facilities and faculty, positioning Iowa State as a major research university. Part 6. The modern research university emerges the Hilton era and academic excellence. James Hilton's presidency from 1953 to 1965 coincided with the space race and unprecedented federal investment in higher education. A veterinarian by training, Hilton understood both agricultural traditions and emerging technological opportunities. His vision positioned Iowa State to capitalize on new funding sources while maintaining its land grant mission. The National Science Foundation and other federal agencies poured millions into research. Iowa State faculty competed successfully for grants, establishing major research programs in physics, chemistry, engineering, and agriculture. The Ames Laboratory expanded, becoming a national center for materials science research. Academic standards rose significantly. Admission requirements increased, faculty credentials improved, and graduate programs expanded. The university attracted internationally renowned scholars, including visiting professors and permanent faculty from around the world. This internationalization enriched the intellectual environment and established global research collaborations. The establishment of the Computation Center in 1957, with an IBM 650 computer, continued Iowa State's pioneering role in computing. Students and faculty gained access to computational power previously available only at a few elite institutions. This facility supported research across disciplines and introduced thousands of students to computer technology, cultural, and social revolution. The 1960s brought dramatic social change to Iowa State. The civil rights movement challenged the university to address discrimination and increase diversity. African American enrollment remained low, but student activists and progressive administrators worked to create a more inclusive environment. The establishment of the Black Cultural Center in 1968 provided a focal point for African American students and promoted campus-wide cultural awareness. Programs to recruit minority students and faculty slowly diversified the campus community. These efforts, while insufficient by today's standards, represented important first steps toward equity. Student activism intensified around Vietnam War protests. The traditionally conservative campus experienced demonstrations, teach-ins, and occasional confrontations. The 1970 student strike, following the Kent State shootings, saw thousands of students boycotting classes and demanding policy changes. These protests reflected national tensions while maintaining Iowa State's generally peaceful character. Women's rights movements transformed campus culture. Female enrollment increased in traditionally male fields, particularly engineering and sciences. The establishment of women's studies programs and support services addressed historical inequities. Margaret Sloss Women's Center, opened in 1980, symbolized institutional commitment to gender equality. Parks and the University Status, W. Robert Parks, president from 1965 to 1986, guided Iowa State through turbulent times while advancing its academic standing. His steady leadership during student protests, budget crises, and social upheaval earned widespread respect. Parks understood that maintaining dialogue and adapting to change were essential for institutional health. The official name, change from Iowa State College to Iowa State University in 1959, had recognized the institution's evolution, but Parks made this transformation substantive. Graduate education expanded dramatically, with doctoral programs established in numerous fields. Research funding grew exponentially, supporting major scientific breakthroughs. The veterinary medicine complex, completed in the 1970s, became one of the world's premier facilities for veterinary education and research. The program's emphasis on food animal medicine and public health positioned Iowa State as a leader in addressing global food security and zoonotic disease challenges. Technological innovation and research excellence. The 1970s and 1980s saw Iowa State emerge as a major research institution. The establishment of research centers in microelectronics, biotechnology, and advanced materials attracted federal and industrial funding. The Iowa State University Research Foundation, created to commercialize discoveries, fostered technology transfer and economic development. The Plant Sciences Institute pioneered genetic engineering techniques, developing crops with improved yields and disease resistance. This work, while sometimes controversial, addressed critical global food security challenges. Iowa State researchers maintained dialogue with stakeholders, balancing innovation with ethical considerations. The National Animal Disease Center collaboration strengthened Iowa State's role in protecting animal and human health. Research on emerging diseases, food safety, and antimicrobial resistance positioned the university at the forefront of One Health approaches integrating human, animal, and environmental health. Energy research became increasingly important. Following the 1970s oil crises, Iowa State engineers and scientists developed renewable energy technologies, including wind power, biomass conversion, and solar cells. The establishment of the Iowa Energy Center in 1990 formalized the university's commitment to sustainable energy research. Part 7. Entering the 21st Century, the Eaton Years and Strategic Growth. Gordon Eaton's presidency from 1986 to 1990, followed by Martin Jischke from 1991 to 2000, positioned Iowa State for 21st century challenges. These leaders emphasized strategic planning, fundraising, and building partnerships with industry and government. The first comprehensive capital campaign raised unprecedented private support. The university's physical transformation during the 1990s reflected growing ambitions. Major facilities, including molecular biology building, Howe Hall, and renovated engineering complexes, provided state-of-the-art research and teaching spaces. The Ryman Gardens, established in 1993, created a living laboratory while beautifying campus. Information technology revolutionized education and research. Project Vincent, one of the nation's first comprehensive campus computing initiatives, provided network access to all students and faculty. This early adoption of technology positioned Iowa State as a leader in digital education and computational research. Undergraduate education received renewed emphasis through learning communities, linking courses, and residential experiences. These programs, particularly successful in engineering and agriculture, improved retention and student success. The honors program expanded, attracting high-achieving students with enriched curricula and research opportunities. The Jeffroy era and the new millennium. Gregory Jeffroy's presidency from 2001 to 2012 spanned economic recession, technological revolution, and changing demographics. His emphasis on student success, research growth, and economic development aligned with state priorities while maintaining land grant values. The Biorenewables Research Laboratory, opened in 2010, symbolized Iowa State's leadership in sustainable technology. Interdisciplinary teams developed bio-based chemicals, fuels, and materials, addressing climate change while supporting rural economies. The BioCentury Research Farm demonstrated commercial-scale biomass production and processing. Virtual Reality Applications Center established Iowa State as a pioneer in immersive technologies. The C6, one of the world's most advanced virtual reality facilities, supported research in engineering, medicine, and design. These capabilities attracted industrial partnerships and positioned Iowa State at the forefront of digital innovation. International engagement expanded dramatically. Partnerships with universities in China, India, Brazil, and other nations facilitated student and faculty exchanges. The World Food Prize connection with Norman Borlaug's legacy reinforced Iowa State's global agricultural leadership. International student enrollment reached record levels, enriching campus diversity. Leith leadership and continued excellence. Stephen Leith's presidency from 2012 to 2017 focused on student success, research growth, and economic impact. The Forever True campaign raised over $1.1 billion supporting scholarships, facilities, and programs. Enrollment reached record levels while maintaining admission standards. The Student Innovation Center, conceived during this period, represented commitment to entrepreneurship and interdisciplinary collaboration. This facility, bringing together engineering, business, and design students, fostered innovation and prepared graduates for rapidly changing careers. Research achievements continued multiplying. Iowa State scientists contributed to discovering gravitational waves, developing drought-resistant crops, and creating advanced materials. The university's research expenditures exceeded $500 million annually, supporting breakthrough discoveries and training next-generation researchers. Winterstein and the Modern Era. Wendy Winterstein became Iowa State's first female president in 2017, bringing deep understanding of land-grant missions and research universities. Her leadership emphasized student success, rural vitality, and addressing global challenges through research and extension. The COVID-19 pandemic tested institutional resilience. Iowa State's response, combining online education, research contributions, and community support, demonstrated adaptability and commitment. Faculty pivoted to remote teaching, researchers developed testing and mitigation strategies, and Extension provided critical information to Iowans. Current initiatives focus on data science, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity, while maintaining traditional strengths in agriculture, engineering, and design. The establishment of the Ivy College of Business and new facilities for veterinary medicine position Iowa State for continued excellence. Part 8, the Iowa State Impact, Research and Innovation, Agricultural Revolution, and Global Food Security. Iowa State's agricultural research has literally fed the world, from the development of hybrid corn to modern genetic engineering. Innovations from Ames have increased global food production dramatically. The work of Henry A. Probst Wallace in developing hybrid corn varieties in the 1920s increased yields by 20-30%, revolutionizing American agriculture. George Washington Carver, Iowa State's first African American student and later faculty member, pioneered sustainable agriculture and crop diversification. His work with peanuts, soybeans, and sweet potatoes provided alternatives for Southern farmers while developing hundreds of new products. Carver's legacy extends beyond his scientific contributions to his role as a pioneer for diversity in higher education. Norman Borlaug, the father of the Green Revolution, earned his PhD from Iowa State in 1942. His development of disease-resistant wheat varieties saved an estimated billion lives from starvation. Borlaug's Nobel Peace Prize in 1970 recognized not just scientific achievement, but the humanitarian impact of agricultural research. The World Food Prize, headquartered in Des Moines and closely affiliated with Iowa State, continues his legacy. Modern research addresses 21st century challenges. Climate resilient crops developed at Iowa State help farmers adapt to changing conditions. Precision agriculture technologies, combining GPS, sensors, and data analytics, optimize resource use while minimizing environmental impact. The Sustainable Agriculture Program integrates economic viability, environmental stewardship, and social responsibility. Engineering marvels and technological breakthroughs. Iowa State engineers have shaped America's infrastructure and technological development. The contributions span from fundamental research to practical applications that impact daily life. Anson Marston's work on soil mechanics and foundation engineering enabled construction of skyscrapers and major infrastructure projects. The development of the electronic digital computer stands as perhaps the most transformative contribution. The Atanasoff-Berry computer's principles, binary arithmetic, electronic switching, and regenerative memory, became fundamental to all modern computers. This innovation launched the digital revolution that has transformed human civilization. Aerospace engineering at Iowa State has contributed to space exploration and aviation safety. Alumni have designed spacecraft, led NASA missions, and developed technologies for commercial aviation. The university's wind tunnel facilities and computational capabilities support cutting-edge aerodynamics research. Modern engineering research addresses sustainability and resilience. Work on wind energy has helped Iowa become a national leader in renewable power generation. Materials scientists develop stronger, lighter, and more sustainable materials for transportation and construction. Bioengineers create medical devices, and tissue engineering solutions that save lives. Veterinary medicine and One Health. The College of Veterinary Medicine's contributions extend far beyond animal health. The One Health approach, recognizing connections between human, animal, and environmental health, positions Iowa State at the forefront of addressing global health challenges. Research on zoonotic diseases, those transmitted between animals and humans, has become increasingly critical. Iowa State veterinarians and researchers study emerging diseases, develop vaccines, and create surveillance systems. This work proved invaluable during COVID-19 and other disease outbreaks. Food safety research protects public health throughout the food chain. From farm to table, Iowa State scientists develop methods to prevent contamination, detect pathogens, and ensure food security. The collaboration between veterinary medicine, agriculture, and engineering creates comprehensive solutions. The Lloyd Veterinary Medical Center provides advanced animal health care while training future veterinarians. Its specialized services, including oncology, cardiology, and exotic animal medicine, make it a regional referral center. The integration of teaching, research, and clinical service exemplifies the land grant mission. Design innovation and creative excellence. The College of Design, established in 1978, brought together programs in architecture, landscape architecture, art, and design. This interdisciplinary approach fosters innovation at the intersection of creativity, technology, and human needs. Industrial design programs at Iowa State have produced innovations in products, systems, and experiences. Alumni have designed everything from agricultural equipment to consumer electronics, always emphasizing user-centered design and sustainability. The Landscape Architecture program addresses environmental challenges through design. Projects range from urban green infrastructure to rural conservation, integrating ecological principles with human needs. The campus itself serves as a living laboratory for landscape design and management. Community design initiatives extend expertise to Iowa communities. Students and faculty help small towns plan for sustainable development, historic preservation, and economic vitality. These projects provide real-world experience while serving public needs. Part 9. Campus Culture and Traditions. The Cyclone Identity. Iowa State's athletic teams became the Cyclones in 1895, following a Chicago Tribune report that described the football team's performance as a cyclone that devastated Northwestern. The nickname captured the force and energy that characterizes Iowa State's spirit. Cardinal and gold, adopted as school colors in 1899, represent the university's agricultural heritage. Cardinal for the vibrant autumn leaves, and gold for the harvest fields of Iowa. These colors unite alumni worldwide, creating instant recognition and connection. Cy the Cardinal mascot, introduced in 1954, has evolved from a simple cardinal to the beloved, muscular bird that energizes crowds today. The mascot's transformation reflects the university's growth from regional college to national research institution while maintaining playful tradition. Vaishya and campus celebrations. Vaishya, combining the initials of Iowa State's original colleges, was for decades the largest student-run festival in the nation. From 1922 to 2014, this spring celebration showcased academic achievements, cultural diversity, and student creativity. Parades, exhibitions, and performances attracted thousands of visitors, strengthening connections between university and community. The festival's suspension in 2014, following safety concerns, marked the end of an era but led to new traditions. The university created alternative celebrations emphasizing academic achievement, service, and responsible community building. These evolving traditions reflect changing student culture while maintaining school spirit. Homecoming continues as a cherished tradition, bringing together students, alumni, and community members. The Tournament of Champions, pep rallies, and mass campaniling create shared experiences that strengthen Iowa State identity. The annual Cyhawk game against the University of Iowa intensifies school pride and friendly rivalry. Living and learning communities. Iowa State pioneered learning communities that integrate academic and residential experiences. These programs, beginning in the 1990s, create smaller communities within the large university, improving student success and satisfaction. The communities span diverse interests, from engineering and agriculture to leadership and global engagement. Students take classes together, participate in activities, and build lasting friendships. This approach has become a national model, demonstrating how large universities can provide personalized education. Greek life, dating to the 1870s, continues playing a significant role in campus culture. Fraternities and sororities provide leadership development, service opportunities, and social connections. The Greek community's evolution toward greater inclusion and responsibility reflects broader societal changes. The Iowa State experience, the Memorial Union, completed in 1928, remains the heart of campus life. Its Great Hall, with oak paneling and Gothic architecture, hosts everything from study sessions to wedding receptions. The underground, maintenance shop, and food court create gathering spaces for diverse communities. The Campanile tradition of becoming a true Iowa Stater through a midnight kiss continues enchanting students. This romantic tradition, over a century old, connects generations of alumni through shared experience. The Campanile's bells, playing school songs daily, provide the soundtrack to campus life. Lake Laverne, with its resident swans Sir Lancelot and Elaine, offers a peaceful retreat in the campus center. The tradition of walking around the lake 3 times with someone to fall in love adds romance to the academic environment. Conclusion: Legacy and future measuring impact. Iowa State University's impact extends far beyond its 35,000 students and 2,000-acre campus. The economic impact on Iowa exceeds $2 billion annually, supporting thousands of jobs and generating innovations that drive economic growth. But the true measure of impact lies in transformed lives and solved problems. Over 250,000 living alumni carry Iowa State values worldwide. They lead corporations, conduct groundbreaking research, educate future generations, and serve communities, from Silicon Valley entrepreneurs to Iowa farmers, from NASA scientists to public school teachers. Iowa State graduates apply their education to improve the world. The research enterprise, with annual expenditures exceeding $500 million, addresses humanity's greatest challenges: climate change, food security, healthcare, and sustainable energy. Iowa State researchers contribute solutions while training the next generation of innovators. Extension and outreach programs reach every Iowa county and extend globally. From 4-H youth development to business assistance, from agricultural consulting to community planning, Iowa State shares knowledge that improves lives. This commitment to engagement fulfills the land grant promise of democratic education. Looking forward, the challenges facing higher education, affordability, relevance, and accessibility require innovative responses. Iowa State's strategic initiatives address these challenges while maintaining excellence. Online and hybrid programs expand access. Partnerships with community colleges create pathways to 4-year degrees. Financial aid programs ensure economic diversity. Interdisciplinary research centers tackle complex problems requiring diverse expertise. The Bioeconomy Institute, Nanovaccine Institute, and Plant Sciences Institute exemplify collaborative approaches. These centers attract top talent, generate breakthrough discoveries, and train students for emerging careers. The Student Innovation Center, opening in 2020, symbolizes Iowa State's future direction. This facility brings together students from all disciplines to collaborate on projects, start companies, and solve problems. The maker spaces, incubators, and collaboration areas foster creativity and entrepreneurship. International engagement continues expanding through partnerships, exchanges, and collaborative research. Iowa State's expertise in agriculture, engineering, and sustainability addresses global challenges while enriching campus diversity. The university's reputation attracts students and scholars from over 100 countries. The enduring mission. Throughout its history, Iowa State has balanced tradition with transformation. The land grant ideal of accessible, practical education remains central, while the definition of practical evolves with society's needs. Today's students learn data science alongside agriculture, entrepreneurship alongside engineering. The commitment to science with practice continues guiding decisions. Research must have purpose beyond publication. Education must prepare students for careers in citizenship. Service must address real needs in Iowa and beyond. This pragmatic idealism distinguishes Iowa State from other research universities. The future holds unprecedented challenges: climate change, artificial intelligence, social inequality, and unknown disruptions. Iowa State's history suggests the university will adapt, innovate, and lead. The same spirit that created the first electronic computer and fed the world will address tomorrow's challenges. As we conclude this journey through Iowa State's history, we see not just an institution, but an idea that education should be accessible, practical, and transformative. From a small agricultural college on the prairie to a global research university, Iowa State has remained true to its mission while evolving to meet changing needs. The bells of the campanile will continue marking time for future generations of cyclones. They will face new challenges, make new discoveries, and create new traditions. But they will share with all who came before them the privilege of being part of Iowa State University's continuing story, a story of innovation, service, and impact that transforms lives and improves our world. The motto, Science with Practice, remains as relevant today as when first articulated. It reminds us that knowledge without application is incomplete, that education without purpose lacks meaning. Iowa State University stands as testament to what can be achieved when vision, dedication, and opportunity converge. This is Iowa State University, forever true, forever changing, forever committed to making the world a better place through education, research, and engagement. The story continues, written daily by students, faculty, staff, and alumni who carry forward the land grant mission into an ever evolving future.